The Fed fund rate decision came out today. It's going to be huge. I'm pulling up some stuff on my computer to go over it, make sure I don't forget anything because ADHD. Yay. Let's see. Boom. And also I'll pull up some slides. So if you're just joining or you join late, don't worry. I usually post these to my YouTube channel within 12 to 24 hours after the live, just in case you're coming late. So thank you to everyone who's joining, pulling up the information for what's going on in the bond market today, the Fed fund rate decision to cut 50 basis points, what that means now and going forward, as well as what the Fed is talking about doing for the remainder of the year. So I'll make sure to get that update to you. Let me pull that slide up. Because right now the bond market's down 4 basis points, not huge. But because it's usually on the Fed fund rate days or big decision days, there's speculation that goes into early morning trading, and we're starting to have some recovery. So let me pull up the slides. All right, let me pull the speculation that goes into early morning trading, and we're starting to have some recovery. So let me pull up the slides. All right, let me pull the speculation that goes into early morning trading, and we're starting to have some recovery. So let me pull up the slides. All right, let me pull this up now. So let's see. Boom, boom. Here we go. And I'll move out of the way. This is just like a recap, a little bit of what's going on. And so you can screenshot this. So this is the Fed fund rate decision today. You can go online and pull this up, download the PDF and read it yourself. It's important to know what's going on in the economy. So as you can see, the Fed's going to decided to cut 50 basis points, bringing the Fed fund rate down to 4.75 to 5, which is good. This is the first rate cut that the Fed has done in over 4 years, which, given the fact that inflation has come down significantly for the last 12 months, they should have made this cut May, June, July sooner. But the jobs and some other things, they decided to wait. And now they're going to play catch up starting going forward. And some are saying they're going to do another 3 to 4 cuts this year, 4 or 5 cuts next year. But for the consumer, what does that mean? And that's why I want to show you some different things on the charts and why it's important to have a rate lock strategy in place, knowing what's ahead so you don't get surprised by different changes in the market. Because this was the bond market this morning. It's up now to 101.47. So the higher this number, the lower the rates. But what I wanted to show you was that important floor of support we had for a few days at 101.50. We dipped a little bit below it. So we don't want to stay below that because there's a lot of room downward. And so keeping you posted. But as I was saying for the last few weeks, hey, you don't want to get greedy. You want to have a lock strategy in place as we have an upward trajectory. This is important. So here we are today. Now we're only down 5. So we're not big changes, but it's important to know what this does for rates and having that strategy in place. Because some people were thinking, oh, maybe I should wait to lock. Maybe I should wait to lock. But thankfully, I was telling them they've already baked in a 25 basis point cut into the pricing. And so my clients, we didn't wait for this. We already locked people in yesterday, the day before, just in case, because again, the day can be volatile when it gets announced. So that's what the market's doing right now, and it updates. And I have it highlighted. That's the UMBS 5.5% coupon. The bond market back when I took the screenshot was at 101.39, but right now it's at 101.47. It's pretty much what everybody's trading on. But what I want you to look at is the 30-minute increments. It can change. So if you call me at 10 and you call someone else at 1, you could be getting totally different numbers. That's why you want to ask what bond market price and coupon is this rate attached to, so that you can, when you call another lender, you're making sure to compare apples to apples. Let me show you another slide. Because what's going on with prices, because some people have been confounded. Why are home prices still going up even though rates were high? And it's an inventory problem. And how you can get a good indicator if there's going to be enough inventory to keep up with supplies is watching the housing starts, formations, and completions reports that come out. And here's the latest information that we got. So completions, and I got single family selected because that's the most important for us. I moved out the way so you can screenshot it. As you can see, completions, single family down 5.6% month over month to 1.03 million homes completed, up 8.4% year over year. Starts, this is homes starting the construction phase, up 15.8% month over month, but less than a million units, up 5.2% for the year. But the permits is the key. How many permits are being filed? Because those homes haven't been started yet. It's showing you what future inventory, and this is across the country, what future inventory is going to be available for sale. 2.8% month over month increase, but down 0.5% year over year. That's scary for less than 1 million homes. Right now, there's 11 million more buyers in the market than there were in 2007 and 8. We do not have enough inventory. When you couple that with the fact that private equity and big companies are buying up massive amounts of inventory, they don't release properties back to the market like a normal consumer. The average time a first-time home buyer is in their home is 3 to 6 years. That means that home is coming back to the market to be able to be bought by, future home buyers. But when those don't come back to market and you're not building enough homes to keep up with demand, of course, housing prices go up and it will continue to increase. And that's why us loan officers have been here telling you it is the time to buy. It's the time to buy. And, Warren Buffett and other investors say the best time to buy is when everyone else is nervous. And I personally did that. I talked to you guys from lived personal experience. I bought when the rates were the highest back in July of 2023 because we got our house. The appraisal came in 50,000 over list, and the sellers gave us like 26,000 in seller credits. So that was an amazing opportunity for us because that home now is worth almost 900,000 in a year of ownership, and we got the seller to give us free $26,000. Like that doesn't happen when rates are low. And that's why I'm trying to tell people right now that rates might be a little higher. And there's a corny catchphrases like date the rate, marry the home. It's the way you properly leverage your equity position, have a game plan in place by which you can comfortably afford. But that's what's going on. The permits is not enough. Not enough. Not enough permits are getting filed. And there's a lot of red tape that goes into filing permits and time it takes. And there's some things that can go into place to help reduce that. But it's important to see. Let's go ahead and pull up the next slide. I already showed you the bond market. Here's the economic calendar for what's coming for the rest of the week. So got a little bit more coming this afternoon, but the jobs information tomorrow, China's rate decision, and the Bank of Japan's information could move the market. That's why you want to watch this stuff and have a rate lock strategy with the loan officer you're working with in place to make sure you're taking advantage of the markets. It's also why I told clients to go ahead and go and lock in and before today. Now, again, like I said, the market was down a little bit, not enough to be a serious reprice yet. But again, I've been saying for a while now, the recovery on rates is not going to be a straight line. It's going to have some volatility. You just got to have a lock strategy in place and know what's coming ahead. And how you do that, study, know the reports that are coming out, and also the reports that it's replacing from the year before. Because on my live yesterday, I had a great interaction with a person who was like, hey, what do you think rates are going to be next year? What is a good way to predict that? Some of the ways you can look at it is what are the current trends on inflation data? What reports are coming out? Because CPI, Consumer Price Index, PPI, Producer Price Index, PCE, Personal Consumption Expenditures, these are key measures of inflation that the Fed will look at. And so when a report comes out, like the one that's going to come out in October, what that report is doing is replacing the September data of 2023 with September 2024's information. And then it gets a new average amount for inflation for the year. And we know what the reports were from the year before. So if you can see the trend and where it's going, will it be a positive replacement, increasing the average rate of inflation, or reducing the average rate of inflation? That's going to be a key indicator. And so that's why I like to do these, to help empower people, whether they use me or not. At least they know the information so they can make a decision for themselves. But as a realtor, you want to proactively plan. So I put some information here. So right here, I'll move out the way. This is the information here that I wanted to share, CPI. And it's what I've got highlighted is he was asking what were the rates maybe going to look like in the spring of 2025. What we need to look at are what are the reports in 2024 that are being replaced with the updated 2025 numbers. So when you see March, April, May, inflation was still up at some points over 3%. Now it's getting like 3.5, 3.6. So that all is going to be replaced with the new info. And right now, everything is on trend and track to be under 2%. If you take out certain measures, it's at 1.7. So when I see this is showing me hope. As long as things stay in the trend, we can relatively see why the Fed is talking about cutting the Fed fund rate another 4 times next year, few times this year, because their job with monetary tightening, when they increase the Fed fund rate, is to slow the movement of money. When they release that and want the economy to flourish, they'll lower the Fed fund rate, encouraging people to go out and buy and invest in the future. So when I see that there's still reports that are due to be replaced next year that are above the 2% line, I'm like, this is good news here. This looks good. Am I a soothsayer who can accurately tell you 100%? No, but this is some of the data. I've got more. And this stuff is all you can go on BLS.gov. You can go on different websites that aggregate this data so you can look at it yourself as well. But I like to provide it so it's not just some guy on the internet giving you some random information. This PPI, which I think is funny when you look at producer price index versus consumer price index, and you see the difference. Them, it's like 1%, and we're over here at like 3.5%. So where's that other 2% going? But yeah, look at the reports. Again, even on PPI, as we continue to follow the trends that we're seeing, as you can see right there, we should be able to see some positive reactions in 2025. Now, this is the thing. If you are on the fence waiting to buy, do not wait for this stuff to happen, because you do not want to react to the market. You want to take advantage of the appreciation gains as home affordability increases, because every 1 point drop in rate brings another 2 to 3 million buyers back to the market, increasing prices 2 to 4%. So I want you to make that money versus paying more for the house, just trying to save an extra 50 to 100 bucks over the next 6 months. Because would you rather make 10,000 or save 2,000? Because like if you're dropping your deal by 1 point, that could help save you about $200 a month, depending on your loan amount. So if, say it was 6 months from now, rates get to that 1 point that you're like, I'm ready to buy. But if that, let's call it a $400,000 house, goes up 5%, now that house is an extra 20 grand more expensive. So in your effort to save 200 bucks a month by 5-6 months, and you just cost yourself $18,000. Like, I don't want that for the people who follow me. Whether you use me or not is up to you. Interview. There's a lot of great loan officers on this app. We're here to help make sure you grow your long-term net worth and not just some investor out there. But you want to interview them and ask questions. Why are you in this business? What are you passionate about? How many homes have you bought in the last 5 years? When was your last home purchase? When was the last time you sold your house? Why you want to ask these questions? Yes, we do this every day, but it's totally different when it's your own deal and you're experiencing the offers and the bid process. And that is important because we need to relate. Interview. Verify their license too. Facts, yes. And also, because sometimes when you call into like these online 1-2-3s, you're getting somebody who's registered and they're not really invested in their career. A lock at 6 yesterday, closing 20. No, the market's not going to give you any rebound. We're actually down 8 basis points. So I'm glad you went ahead and locked because you protected yourself. Wouldn't have changed the pricing much, but just stay ahead of it. But you did a good job locking. Congrats. And I'm glad you've been in the lives paying attention to this because, again, having these conversations with your loan officer is so important to protecting your long-term financial success because you can refinance later. Just be careful not to get stuck in these salespeople will try to churn your loan. You need to know how long you're going to be in it. Register is a lead gen for most. Facts. And that's the part that gets discouraging because those people sometimes, because they're not invested in their craft, they're not invested in relationships, they give loan officers a bad name and the clients don't know any better. So then when they call you, they might think you're one of these registered jokers who is just getting hired in mass by these refi or, lead gen chop shops. And it's not fair. I hate that type of process because this is such a huge decision. Buying a home is in the top 5 most stressful things a person does. They do it 2 to 3 times their entire life. You deserve more than a customer service agent that isn't really customer service. They get driven hard in those chop shops. It's insane. Yep. And that's the weird model that I think is interesting when you look at who funded that big, huge NAR lawsuit. Like the people who were involved only got a couple $100. The lawyers made out, but who funded it? Who was motivated by it? And you see these big, huge companies that buy up 30 and 40% of inventory in the market. Now they're like, wait a minute, when I go to sell, I don't want to have to pay out commission. So let's go ahead and change the whole industry because that's cheaper than selling at a higher cost. It's just mind blowing. But let me show us a couple more slides before I take the background off. Showed the home prices. I showed that. see. Oh, another thing, just in case, because some people put off buying because like, oh, savings and it's hard. Here in Texas, it's not just me. There's a bunch of great loan officers that can do this. So I never want you to feel like I'm sharing information like I'm the only one who does it. No, if they're a loan officer in Texas, they should be trained to do, excuse me, good DPA programs. This is T-Shack. I'll move my head out the way. Take a screenshot. Grant. What is the difference between the grant and the 3-year forgivable second lien or deferred forgivable second lien? The grant is treated like a gift. You never have to repay those funds. The 3-year forgivable second lien, if you sell or refinance in that first 3 years, you have to give back the portion of the funds that you received from the program. Some people get intimidated or scared by that, but if you can get into your home, because if you can get 5% assistance, I've just showed a slide yesterday where I got a client back $2,100 at closing. You can get that back and you're building equity and your home price is appreciating. You're doing the right thing. These programs are awesome and they help people get into homes. They bought a $257,000 house and they got a check back at closing for $2,100. It's huge. I like repayable due to rate bumps. Yep, I like it. And that's the difference, seeing what kind of rates they have. Because if you look on here, the grant has slightly higher rates than the 3-year forgivable. So some clients, they might like it, or some of them might want that grant because then if they refinance 3-6 months later, they don't have to repay the funds. But it's always about the individual conversation with the client and making sure what we do is aligned with their current and long-term financial goals, how long they plan to own the property, and make sure that they manage their equity position in the best way that, again, aligns with what's prudent and suitable for the client. And it's an amazing opportunity, but I always like to share this stuff and run the numbers. Yes. And I use a cool program called Mortgage Coach where it can do side-by-side analysis instead of just like a PDF breakdown. And I record a video. So I know that you are a great loan officer out here. And if you're not following them, go follow them. If you're not using Mortgage Coach, it's a cool program for me. I love it. But it helps break it down and make it plain for people. And you can put a video in it and walk people through the numbers as well. I love that tool. But Mortgage Coach. Let me see. Last one. I did that. Final thing I want to touch on today is my lunch and learn that's coming up for realtors who are on my live. If you haven't RSVP'd by emailing Lindsay, you want to go ahead and get ahead of that because I think we might already be like fully booked because Vera Wang Casera is going to be my guest speaker. Usually I speak or I'll bring in people that, will help with the realtors. Like the month before I brought in a guy that was with 1031 Exchange. So awesome. But yeah, now Vera, she's an amazing entrepreneur, philanthropist. She owns Peak Square Ventures, amazing networking group with the venture capitalist private equity group I'm a part of. And I want to make sure I'm sharing these tools with my realtors and partners so that they can provide it to their investors and clients as well. But yeah, I'm glad that it was a 50 basis point too instead of the 25, because a lot of people were thinking 25 because the Fed has just been so weird and inconsistent for the last 4 years. It's weird how everything over the last 12 months has been improving and getting better, yet the Fed fund rate stayed the exact same. And I think with Powell I'm hoping that this is his last term, but I'm tired of these guys and their crusty, dusty, antiquated mindset and thoughts on the economy and some of the models we use where it's like the owner's equivalent rent and different things that we're just allowed to like say is the number and it's just hypothetical guesses and then it causes speculation in the market and can move the needle up and down. It's just antiquated. We need to update it to 2024 and into 2025 and stop driving looking out the rear view mirror. It is what it is though. All right, so I've got my plug. Join me at Capital Title, their Willow Bend location on the 26th, 12 to 1. It's going to be awesome. I'm providing snacks. I'll introduce Vera. She'll do her thing and show people how to diversify your investments, build your brand, and reinvent what success means to you. What she does with women and her nonprofit is just so amazing. And I just want to support her any way I possibly can. But yeah, if you got questions, put it in the comments. Happy to answer any questions. There's something that says guest. I am about a 3 to 4 year old when it comes to technology savvy. And so I'm going to push this button. If it's somebody I know, accept. Oh, how are you doing?
Peachy, see, you did it. I told you you'd be able to do it.
I've never done this before.
Well, welcome to the fun.
I am excited about this. This is fun. How's your day going?
Well, I was wrong. I was very wrong. So I posted a video immediately saying I was wrong, and thankfully so. I'm glad for it.
Yeah, but sometimes being safe is better than sorry, so...
You know what? I'm a plan for the worst and hope for the best kind of girl, and, you know... It was driving me nuts, all the people that were sitting there saying, you know, 6 rate cuts in 2024. And I'm like, no, nobody ever said that. Nobody said that.
Yes.
The earliest I was thinking was July. And the fact that he didn't do it in July, I'm like, dude, seriously?
Yes.
July would have been when he needed to do it.
Yep, agreed.
And then he could have waited and said, you know, we're gonna wait and see what that does and how that affects things. Now he's got to backpedal again, like you were saying in text. Just like he did after the pandemic, he had to shoot it through the roof.
Yes, it's annoying. And it's sad because it doesn't affect him or the people in the 1% class. It affects us all regular people. And that's the part that's so frustrating. And I just wish that there was better processes in place to help get ahead of antiquated, crusty, dusty dudes who are just like, oh, this is how we did it in 1965. It's like, well, awesome. You know, we understand how, you know, rockets work now. So let's do something different.
In all fairness, I appreciate the fact that it's him and not his predecessor, because had it been his predecessor, I think we would be in worse shape. And I think I think, you know, he's in a catch-22. Yeah. Because everybody was talking about how he has to drop rates because it's an election year, and he was trying not to. Yeah. Specifically because of that. And that's what I was afraid of, was that the ego. So if he did 25 now, 25 next month, or sorry, November, and then did the 50 or 75 in December, I was expecting to see that. That's what I was expecting to see.
That's what I was nervous about too, and why I wanted them to do it in July, April, May, June, July, somewhere in the summer, because it wouldn't look as suspicious. But remember what they did back in 2016, 2020, always around this time of the year, there's this weird movement in rates. And I'm like, no matter what is going on, there's always this weird nebulous time around here, especially back then. I'm like, God dang it, let's stop the games and costing American people money where to make somebody look good politically. I'm like, I don't care what either people look like. I just want clients to be saving money on their home.
Well, realistically, if we got Fannie and Freddie out of conservatorship, which I can't understand why I can't find anywhere where it makes sense that they're still in conservatorship.
Right.
If Fannie and Freddie were not in conservatorship, we would have never seen over 8% interest rates.
Right. Yeah.
Because they're capped as to how many they can buy on the secondary market because of the conservatorship. And it's like, dude, it's time for them to be free. They paid back all the money. I think they were the only entity that had to pay back the money that they borrowed from the federal government.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
And they paid it back like 3 times over, which is insane to me. And we didn't bail out the car manufacturers, which is the only thing that we really made in America. I'm like, somebody help me make it make sense.
It won't. Yep, it won't. And none of them went to jail. None of them went to any of these crazy stuff. It's just, that's the part where I get frustrated in all these things, because like when we see this stuff in the business, but then it doesn't get, the media doesn't cover it in the right way. And people start to make predictions like home prices are going to drop 15% in the next 6 months. They're not looking at inventory. It's like the homes are going to drop 15% in the next 6 months. That's crazy.
So do you follow Matt Wheatley at all?
Not that I know of.
Matt just did a video on it. He's a real estate agent in Florida. I've done one deal with him. That was fun because he called me up. Can you fix this? The loan officer had it for 4 months and he can't close it. And I'm on the listing side. And I'm like, let me look. And the stupid loan officer, he was correspondent. Don't get me wrong, my company, I can be broker, I can be correspondent, fine. But he sent it to 4 different lenders. It was a bank statement with each borrower having multiple businesses, and he sent it to UWM.
Yeah.
No. Then he sent it to Click to Close. Really?
No.
No? Yeah. Then he sent it to Amras, couldn't close it, and then he sent it to Acra and couldn't close it. Well, I took it back and threw it into Acra and closed it.
Right.
But Matt just did a video on it, and what's happening is people are taking the headline information of home values aren't going to be going up, and they're taking the data and they're not interpreting what they're saying, what the powers that be are saying, and what the charts are saying is appreciation isn't going to be jumping through the roof. And we've already seen appreciation slow down. Who cares?
Yes. It's 5.5% year over year right now. And that's the part where people can go and look at it, but they're like, wait a minute. It's 2020 and 2021, it was 19%, 10%. Of course, we're not always going to see that kind of jumps, but that doesn't mean the $400,000 house that goes up 5%, that's 20 grand. That's a lot of money, and it's more expensive. And that's the part where people have lost so much money because they've been believing some of these news outlets that are talking about a housing crash like 2007 and 8, not paying attention to inventory or birthing rates or any of the statistics that led to what happened in 2007 and 8.
Well, not only that, but the thing of it is that if anybody who's been sitting on the sidelines has been sitting on the sidelines strictly because of rate, they don't understand how numbers work.
Yes.
They don't understand how numbers work. And I'm constantly posting and I'm constantly doing lives about a 7.125% interest rate is actually $11 per month cheaper than when that interest rate goes to 6%.
Yep.
Why? Because after a year, you just gained $17,500 on average worth of equity, and then to bump that to $400,000 is nothing.
Yes.
It's $11 more per month just because you wanted that 6% interest rate.
Yep.
9 times out of 10, if you ask the average person, "What's the interest rate on your car?" "Oh, I don't know."
Yep.
"What's the interest rate on your credit card?" "Oh, I don't know."
Yes.
"Interest rate on your student loan?" "Too much." No joke.
Yep. But not the appreciating asset that will help them build long-term generational wealth. Like, we don't want that. It's like, what? But we're not taught this stuff in school, but A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And like, who the hell needs that today? And so that drives me crazy.
Funny thing about that is my daughter is a freshman in high school this year, and she chose to take accounting. She chose to take accounting.
Yeah.
I realized when she was 11, I have her around here too much when I'm talking to clients because her dad has a moving business.
Oh, cool.
You know, they're no longer together. And she texted me and she's like, "This house would never qualify for an FHA loan." I'm like,
excellent.
"Why?" And she's like, "Too many stairs and no railing." I'm like, "Damn."
Yep.
I have her around. But in her algebra class, they are teaching about simple interest, and they are talking about compounding interest, and they are talking about those things. And in her accounting class, which is now required for every high school student in her high school, they do talk about some of those things, and they are getting that back into the schools.
Sweet. Yes, because when I was in school, it was not the way, and it's unfortunate. And I just want to see more people helpful and in the market and understanding, because you're right, that opportunity cost of renting, trying to save $70 a month instead of making 17,000, it's jumping over dollars to pick up nickels, and like, you can't get ahead that way. And that's where we got to help change the narrative. I'm glad there's good loan officers on this app like you, Carlos, and Cat Loans, that are sharing, because that's going to be the difference of helping regular individuals keep power than just letting it go to the normal creepo, big private equity firms.
So we got a question in the comments about when will reduced mortgage rates be reflected? And I said 2 weeks ago, because it's been priced in. The Fed only influences mortgage rates.
Yep.
The Fed does not set mortgage interest rates. They influence it. And them doing this was already baked in 2 weeks ago. Now, had it only been 25 basis points, we would have seen mortgage rates actually go up because there was a large expectation that it was going to be.
Yep.
But yeah, it already happened 2 weeks ago. We already put it into place 2 weeks ago.
Yep. That's 100% accurate. That you've been saying it. I've been saying others. We baked in the 25 basis point. Watch this to set up for the next conversation, because like here in Texas, we know that property tax bills start coming out in October and into November. And so with refi clients, what are they doing to prepare for that, especially if they close this year and if they were not given the appropriate tax credit during closing? So like this, for me, what I've been doing with clients is helpful to help get that conversation going. And what I've been telling my realtors is like, use this as a tool to help start the conversation. So that clients are prepared, especially if they're owners or looking to get off the fence. But 2 weeks ago when they baked that in, that 25 basis point cut was the spot on accuracy. Let's see, Azure.
So same person asked if they should lock their interest rate today. They have a closing on October 4th. And my answer was, ask your loan officer, because it's been bouncing all day. I mean, we lost 17 basis points, and it's just been moving all day long. So you might have to wait October 4th. If it was my loan, and this is just me personally, I probably would run the numbers today, take a look at it versus where you started from, but I probably wouldn't do anything until Tuesday.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't lock until Tuesday because that's when this is going to stop.
Right. Yep. That's what we were talking about earlier, is that when it's the Fed fund rate, there's day or big decision days. Sometimes there's like pre-trade speculation that can move the market, and it'll start to level off tomorrow and the next day. But China's rate decision on Friday could move, and the jobless and continuous claims tomorrow is going to be big. So, yeah, I'm in that boat with you.
And
Yeah.
the other interesting part is depending upon who the lender is, it could take them a day to actually lock the rate.
Right.
And most of them will honor when you request the rate lock. Some of them won't. If your loan officer gets sidetracked because they're getting 550 phone calls, they could do it at the wrong shot. It depends upon the lender. Not everybody allows us to do an immediate lock,
Right.
so it just locks it into place. Sometimes you have to submit for a lock request and then leave. So
Yeah.
you're alone.
Yes. Yep. I like it. And see, that's the fun part of getting different loan officers on and chatting with each other, because we all have different approaches to things. And each company has a little bit of different stuff, like with float downs. But with the fourth, that's pretty close. But yeah, I'd probably be on board with that. But in essence, warning the client up front, what are the potential risks, reward, and will it move the market much? Maybe, maybe not, but that's a great question. But it all goes back to talk to your loan officer and make sure they have a rate lock strategy and go from there.
Yeah.
Does your company get a little bit better pricing on a 15-day lock versus a 30?
Most of my lenders do a better pricing on a 15 versus a.
Yeah, usually it's like, for me, I think it's like about an eighth lower rate, or, eighth of a hit to the pricing if I go on a 15 versus 30. Sometimes it just depends on the yield spread premium and everything else that's going on in the market. But
yeah, it also depends upon the client, because like I have a client right now that I want to reach the computer and smack him upside the head.
everybody, yeah.
I said he's doing a non-QM loan. He bought the property in an LLC and then gifted it to his son in April, and now his son's trying to pull cash out to buy another investment property. And this man keeps sending me rates for standard mortgages. This has nothing to do with your situation. You know this. This has nothing to do with your situation. Yeah, Bank of America sure as hell ain't touching this thing.
No.
It has nothing to do with your situation.
I love when people bring up Bank of America. It's like, good luck.
Well, and he's also a real estate agent. So it's like, and he just, I sent him, okay, we can bump the loan amounts of this. I can do an 80% loan to value, or because the appraisal came in, $4,000 short, we can do this. Let me know what you want to do. He sends me a comment. Neither of these benefit me. Processor reaches out the next day. Nothing.
Yeah.
Tuesday, I reached out and said, okay, we're about to blow your rate lock. I'm making the decision. I'm done with you.
Yes.
I'm trying to give you the courtesy. I'm done.
Yeah.
And he's just like, well, 7 days of no contact.
Yep. My last email.
Sir, please note that every text message, every email is date stamped, time stamped, and recorded into your file, along with the email tracker of how many times and when you open the email that I've sent you. So, sir, no, this is not the facts.
Yep. It's tough. It's just, you're dealing with people in the highest emotional state, especially if somebody thinks they already know, and it can be tough out there, but.
Well, no, I mean, this one's a little, the only reason why I let Daddy have any say in it, quite frankly, is because there's a religious component to it.
Right. Makes sense.
I need to try to navigate that in a non-QM, non-halal loan with all the flip. There was too much from, so I was trying to be clear and transparent and not make the decisions.
Yeah.
And bite me in the behind. So
yes. And your time is valuable, and it can cost. And then who's in trouble if you mess up? And it's like, not today.
I met Carlos out in Detroit at UWM. I don't know.
Yeah,
he was out there.
Hit me up all the time.
Yeah, he found he found me the following breakfast after I actually passed out from the heat and slammed my head on the concrete. It was a fun trip.
Oh my gosh, that's scary.
Not at all. I used to be an EMT, no big deal. Anyways, so this loan was in place before I went to go do that. That loan was close to closing before I went to go do that.
Oh, wow, yeah.
In August, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Hey, Cat Loans, pull her up.
He's awesome. Yeah, I don't know how Wizard. Last time it was on a little 2-person guest action. I don't know how to.
So that's because I requested.
Okay.
So if you click on Cat,
Yeah.
You should be able to invite her.
If she wants to come in, I don't know if she got time. Give me a minute and I can request. Cool. She just needs some time. She's awesome. And one of the things before I became a self-source LO, I was the operations manager for our branch. And so like I was in charge of underwriting and processing. So my approach to this whole thing is from an operations approach where I want to make sure things are taken care of up front. So when I hear good loan officers that know their stuff, it is exciting because sometimes you get finger guns loan officers like, who, I know everybody in this room. And I'm like, I will punch you. Like, don't come here with that stuff. I don't like people. And so it's fun to see people who are good at their business and have that gift of just networking that I do not have.
I'm just loud and obnoxious. I don't know that I would necessarily call it networking. I mean, if you've ever watched any of my videos, I'm just calling out people for stupid and trying to get valuable information to come across. Like the fact that 99% of pre-approvals are fake.
100%. Yep. Facts.
I'm thinking about changing my wording on things. I think I'm just going, instead of doing a pre-qualification, I think I'm just going to call them qualified letters.
Yes.
Because AUS is just qualifications, not a pre-approval.
Right.
And I think I'm going to change my CBD underwrites to initial approval.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I like it.
Because agents don't understand the difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification.
Yep.
Clients sure as hell don't, but agents should know that.
Yes.
And if I can get the agent to be able to articulate it to the listing agent, I can get offers that are lower accepted better.
Yep.
And that's the whole trick, is getting the agent to understand it. They see, pre-approved, fully underwritten, pre-approved, all documents in house. I mean, I do the whole, here's the explanation. I send them over the actually fully underwritten. I have obviously, white out the client specific data.
Right.
As far as, I'm somebody, I need business tax returns for his two businesses. I whited out the name of the businesses, but it's like business tax returns.
Makes sense.
But they don't know how to use it either.
Yep. But that is so powerful. Like at Cross Country, we call it a fast track approval, where we've submitted to underwriting. So we have everything done outside of property. And so it helps. Then we can compete with cash offers. So but it takes a little bit more time because you're submitting the documents, underwriting, and getting a full decision. And they'll condition for property. And that's it. Like all we're waiting on is property.
I have a lender where I can do it within a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Because they're using AI to verify the actual documents. It's only one lender who can do it, which is why I'm telling everybody, if we're doing a TBD underwrite, it's probably going to take 3 to 15 business days for you to get it back.
Right.
This is a real pre-approval. And the number of loan officers who don't know that by our license type, we can't write a pre-approval because a pre-approval is an offer to extend credit, and we can't do that.
Right. Yes.
Our license is not allowed that. And CFPB has been starting to call people out on that when they're doing file checks.
Yep, they should, because that's the thing. Like, do you guys use Encompass for your origination, or which are you on Mortgage Machine? Like, what's your origination software?
Well, that kind of depends upon if we're talking about each individual lender, because I'm on the broker side of things. So I have over 250 lenders.
Yeah.
I utilize Arrive to start my everything, and then I have to put it in the lending pad for compliance purposes. And then, unfortunately, a lot of lenders use Encompass. I don't like Encompass.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me happy.
It's so slow. I like it for some reasons, but it's so slow.
It's pain. Everything's not where it's supposed to be, and I'm like, can't they all be this? It's almost like when you go to use your debit card somewhere, and they're all different. Some of them put the card in first, and then you put it.
Do I need to pray to this thing first? Do I need to do something? Yes.
Do I need to say yes, it's credit, or no, it's debit? Can't they all just be the same?
Yes. This is awesome. I've never gone the broker world. And Carlos has been trying to talk me into it as well, because it's just flexibility. I've always been with Fairway, where I'm at with Cross Country, which I love it, because we have so much access to so many different programs and things here, but we have certain limitations, and that's where I'm like, but what's it like on the other side?
You say his name and he pops in. Dude, you and I should talk about, when you want to talk about access. I mean, down to 500 FICO, no FICO. You name a loan type, I've got it.
I love it. Yes.
Carlos, request to join. Come on, buddy.
And see, that's the part, like some of these things, because I don't know if you've looked at Cross Country or any of those things, but the broker operators, we have so many where anything you think, bank up statement, this one, for me, it's the difference on comp that is just because because that's the difference. Like what I've seen from different loan officers' comp structures. But yeah, we can talk about that offline.
Yeah. You
And
got
also
my phone number. You
Yes.
got my number.
I'm in. Yeah, let's have a chit chat because it is coming on that time of the year. And next quarter, I've got some conversations I have to see where we're going to be, or I got to make decisions. So that'd be good. Carlos, you want to come on this live?
What I also like about where I'm at is because I run my own team and just because the way that we're structured in general, if there are certain loan types that I don't want to do,
Yeah.
I don't have to do them, and I'm not being rude.
Right.
I reached out to another loan officer in my company, but like mobile homes, I
Yeah.
won't do them.
They can
I'm
be
from
tough.
Florida. I'm born and raised in Florida. Mobile homes do not compute to me being a Floridian.
Yeah.
So I don't do enough research, and I refuse to retain the information enough to be of value.
Gotcha. Yeah. And like here in Texas, we do loans in Texas, right? Or is it just, or you're only in Florida? I know.
Well, I'm in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, and Florida. Any place I can drive to, and my home state of Florida, where I'm born and raised.
Nice.
I now live in Pennsylvania because I hate the heat.
Yeah, makes sense. And the prices in Florida have been an interesting, if you look at the home price appreciation maps, but like I've heard there's some dips there that have been interesting for investors.
Well, I am an investor in Florida, and
Right.
again, I have family all the way from Jacksonville down to Pompano Beach. But the thing about Florida is we're going to have our dips, and when our dips happen, they hit hard, but they bounce even higher. My first property is always my biggest example of I bought it for less than $100,000. It was $98,500.
Yep.
That thing's worth over $430,000 today.
Imagine if you could go back in time. That's something I always talk about in my lives. Like if I could go back in time, how I would have done my finances differently. Like buying a fourplex or a duplex as soon as I could in my early 20s and staying in every 12 and then changing every 12 to 24 months to build my doors. But like, it's amazing having this level of information and being able to share it and help see others do some of the things we wish we could do. Because this is the cheapest homes are ever going to be. And it's like, buy now, you'll look like a real champion in 30 years. We got Carlos. He's here. Carlos, if you don't know who he is, that's something that's a pleasure for us to introduce to you. A fantastic loan officer who goes live on here all the time, provides value, and knows his stuff. So congratulations for being on this live and getting to hear from Carlos. Carlos, give us a little intro. If he doesn't do it, I'll move my mouth so it makes it sound like me.
Can you hear me? No?
A little bit. It's a little quiet.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, what's going on?
That guy, a person named Dog Lover 71, who's like, who's Carlos?
Who the heck
Can you
is
tell me why
Carlos
he
is
never had-
awesome. Carlos has his camera on every night. He is
He
on
doesn't want to outshine us on this
every
live.
night.
Okay, cool. Can we remove and block?
Wait till a cat gets on here.
We got a little scroll.
Oh, honey,
Oh man, you don't want
I
to.
love you too. I love trolls. I think they are the funniest people on the planet.
Trolls?
Yeah, I love them. Miami
Sometimes you're funny.
9595. Have you gotten hit by him yet?
Who?
Miami 9595.
No.
Is that the guy that went to jail and whatever?
No, Miami 9595 was trolling agents and loan officers for a while, talking about the $23 for sale sign, and how he made millions of dollars until, I started doing the research. I'm like, you have a deed problem because the property that you inherited and sold before the probate was finished has your name on that deed, not the person who purchased it. So you're now liable for that property. So you might want to go back. He's like, how'd you find that out? I'm like,
It's public information, bro.
I'm
Yeah. How are things for you over there? What are you seeing in your market, Carlos?
It's starting to pick up, for sure. I've done a few escrows in Texas and California. But yeah, it's getting competitive. I just did a 14-day escrow FHA here in Chula Vista.
Yeah.
And that was the only reason they accepted our offer. They said,
Yep.
you can't close in 14 days, we're not going to take your offer. So
Done.
it's getting competitive. I mean, it's only going to get harder. And,
Yep.
that's a lot of people don't realize.
Yep.
Once it actually happens, that people are going to be like, oh, damn, I should have, done,
Yep.
I should have bought a home before. And I mean, I was talking on my TikTok live yesterday, and I was telling people, look, I mean, we've had low interest rates for like 3 weeks now. We've had rates in the 5s. You can even get into a high 4 if you buy down, the rate by some points, right? So
Yep.
after today, just wait until tomorrow. Once we open up your Yahoo News and you go to CNBC and all these different outlets, everybody will be talking about the 50 basis points drop on the Fed funds rate, and people they're all thinking that it's mortgage rates, and that's the part that I was trying to let people know of, that it's not the Fed funds rate that affects mortgage rates.
Right.
The Fed funds rate is the rate at which banks lend to each other overnight. Now we got to look at the 10-year Treasury. We're going to look at mortgage rates.
Yes.
So that's the part that people don't know about, and it's all about education. So, I mean, people are gonna. It's just normal nature. People are gonna news. They're gonna talk to a loan officer. They're gonna say rates are in the fives. Like, wow, really? They dropped that low? And between us, rates have been this low for the past 3 weeks. So it's like, it's nothing for us, So.
Exactly, man. Spot on. Hey, Tim, how's it going, bud?
What's up, family?
Yes, we got the whole crew, or getting most of the crew in. I invited Kat in, but this is so cool. Like, this is my first time having like people on here or knowing how to do the invite. So thank you for your patience. Come on, there she is.
Yeah,
But this
hold
is
on. I'm
cool.
going to set
We're
up
all
my.
right across the country, so people are getting to learn and ask questions and go from there. What are you seeing in your market? Because you're mostly in Arizona, is that correct? I know you can do what in other states, but where is the majority of your business coming from?
Arizona. It's mostly Arizona.
Yeah,
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Yeah, didn't you say you lived in Chandler or something?
Yep. Yep. Phoenix, Chandler, they're like right there. I remember I was back in like 2001 and I was there from Boston. I'm like, bro, how are these houses 100, 150,000 for these big old stuccos? I'm like, I would buy every house I can afford here. And now those homes are like $1 million plus.
Listen, I just want to give one word for interest rates is
Yes, I like it. Fully endorsed.
so we got big sexy in the front and little sexy in the back.
Yes. Whatever you need.
What's up, Kat?
She's like, I'm out. I'm done with these dorks.
We're struggling.
Yeah. It was the hat. It was the hat, Tim.
Yeah.
How are you guys?
Good. Just excited about what's going on and chit-chatting for the first time on a group action. It's fun. Oh, my computer.
My phone is literally blowing up.
Yep. How are
Likewise.
things in California?
Fires, like, what's going on? What's going on? I'm like, guys, rates actually went up today.
Yeah. Yep.
A little bit.
It's fun, but we're
It's
going to
fun.
hopefully...
Yeah, yesterday I priced a loan on Monday, and it was a 1.2 buy down, and today it was 1.4.
Yeah.
Of course.
What people always fail to understand is like it's a race to infinity, but there's these mile markers that are rate cuts, and like it doesn't stop at the rate cut. The market is always looking ahead.
Yep.
So it priced everything in expecting to get to this mile marker, and now we got to look for the next one. Like everybody I talk to, whether it's a client or even a lot of agents, don't understand that. It's like, oh, they cut. What are they today? I'm like, well, it doesn't work like that.
Yep. Exactly. And like, that's what, I don't know if you guys are a part of MBS Highway, but having
Yeah.
that economic calendar and different tools has been huge to kind of help project what's coming and here just for even just motivation for calls. Cause sometimes, I don't know if you guys have theme days, like, or time block, but like, what am I calling my TBDs and what day am I calling this? But it's like, hey, realtor, you need to have this structure so you know it. To watch these people on TikTok. I found out that this has happened today. What do rates need to be for you to make a buying or selling decision? So that's like what we're here to do is educate. And I'm sure all of you guys, you all are 100% self-sourced, right? You're not like none of you are lead gen shops.
Correct.
It's a totally different model. That's how we are on this thing. It's different. We were talking about the chop shops earlier where they're like registered agents and not invested in their craft and can be a nightmare for clients.
I hate it. Rate agents talk. Michelle said, I hate it or don't talk about rates, please. I hate that. That is my biggest pet peeve when realtors go on Instagram or on here and they like do posts about rates. Like I saw an agent on Instagram post when rates, like 2 months ago, I think when the rates initially dropped and everyone was pushing VA, IRRRLs. this agent was like, rate is a 5.25, and I was like, what the? List the APR. Like,
Yes.
we have to list the APR. Like, you can't do that.
Yes.
So my counter to that was, number one, I posted on Facebook. If you do not carry an MLS, you do not talk about rates. That's for one. For two, hey agents, guess what? Let's talk about seller concessions that you can negotiate for your clients. And I posted it everywhere because they want to talk about rates. We need to start hammering more on seller concessions.
100%.
Yeah. I agree. They don't want us talking about that, right? So
Yeah.
There's a realtor in Los Angeles that is doing TikTok lives and is literally pre-qualifying people on her live.
I know who you're talking about. It drives me crazy.
And then so I told her like, hey, you don't have an MLS license, and then she ended up blocking me. So, I'm like, I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, what?
You're just trying to help protect them, because if they get hit, CFPB or somebody that's happens to come across, you never know who's watching these things. That's why I'm careful sometimes when people put questions that seem a little too targeted. I'm like,
you're the CFPB.
you're a cop. I don't trust you. Not today.
You know, it's hard to have this conversation without being able to see Carlos's face.
I know,
Like,
right?
Where you at, bud? Like,
I'm getting ready to go. I have to go to Mexico.
That's awesome.
what are you going to Mexico
I'm in
for?
San Diego. I just crossed the border. I have to go to a doctor's appointment already.
Nice.
Tijuana.
Well, I gotta pop off and take my daughter to dance class. It was good to see you guys for like the 10 minutes I could actually be on, because I think I'm the only one in that text thread that's actually East Coast. Anybody else East Coast?
Yeah.
What is it?
Oh, I think we got one other guy over there who's in
East
Nashville.
Coast.
Oh, no.
Because all y'all seem like
Carlo is.
No, Carlos is in
Oh.
California.
No, Carlo.
No, Carlo.
Carlo.
So
Yeah.
my office, so technically I'm like an Ohio loan officer. I moved to California and I go back and forth. So my office and all of my business is pretty much Ohio.
So we're kind of neighbors because I'm in Pennsylvania, and even though I'm on the opposite side,
Yeah. But I go back and forth. So like I'll be back in Ohio and then I come back here and I'm trying to build out here, but I'm actually going to get my real estate license out here.
That's awesome.
In
I
Cali?
get mine out here because I take clients to open houses all the time, and I want to be able to do showings to help out my agents. And I'm so sick and tired of being like, you're not an agent, you don't know what we have to go through. Connie, okay.
I want to get my license too, but I have no desire to sell real estate. It would literally only for the referral fees for the shit that I send across state lines.
Yeah. Well, so what I do is I give the referral and then my husband gets the referral fee because he's an agent.
Yeah.
And then so he and I are going to be like, I'm going to help him. So I don't want to show houses. I like being right here in my, literally a tank top and my sweatpants right now. Like that's my jam.
Yes.
I have no desire.
Wait, you
to
have pants on? I don't have pants. That's not fair.
Yep. That's the sexy part.
That's exactly it. I'm with you, girl.
Rod's really in his suit and his boxers right
Yeah,
there.
in my boxer is like straight up suit. It's a tuxedo boxer. So
Right.
Well, he's in an office with
Nobody would doubt that in his office. I have wicked bad ADHD. I'm down for any type of crazy. So they would be like, that tracks. Yep, that makes sense.
I don't know if you guys follow, his name's Eddie Gonzalez. It goes by AZCRE, I think, on here, but he does commercial real estate. He has a segment he does called Tub Talks. Well, he'll do live Instagrams with other people who are also in the tub. He'll be in the
That's
tub,
awesome.
and he's like, if you want to be on, you have to be in your tub.
Yes, I'm down.
I don't think that would work for me, guys. I already get enough like bullshit. I don't think I need to cross that
Your trolls are the
line. I
worst.
don't think it's a good one for me.
I
Bubbles.
don't understand how our world at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
But back to the whole thing about not wanting to show real estate. I don't want to show real estate either. There's actually a real estate brokerage in Florida where you can have your real estate agent license. They'll hold your license, but the only thing that you can do is showing.
Oh, wow.
And then there's another company coming out of California where they're trying to set it up to where anybody who has their license can do a la carte section. So if all you want to do is showings, you can do that. If all you want to do is hold open houses for other agents, you can do that in their place, and they're going to hold your license. So there's no concern that, hey, you're also your loan officer / real estate agent. You're going to try to steal my client and say, no. Good job.
Right.
I'm not that young. But this way, there's no threat of that going on.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Everything
Still
is
don't want to do any of that.
no. I love what I do, but I'm crushing and trying to save everything I can, so in 5 years I can leave or do whatever the heck I want to do. So I'm not buying any stupid stuff like I used to anymore. No more fancy watches or suits or nothing. I'm broke, and in 5 years out. Like Molly, here I come. I'm out of this thing.
I'm actually,
Tesla truck?
Oh no, but hey, some people like it and they're okay, but no, I'm done with that. I used to have a Mercedes. I'm like, I need another car. I was like, I'm buying a freaking Honda in cash. I ain't having nothing.
yeah, me and my brother and a few other family members actually working on dual citizenship for Italy.
Yep, Monica's got it in Spain, and so and she has her family has property in Spain. I'm like, let's go to Spain, babe. I'm done. Let's go to Spain immediately. I can work from there. But she won't.
Totally down. Totally
This
down.
is crazy.
Yeah, Kat, you're right. Like I've seen some of your lives. People are weird.
Yep. It's unfortunate. You have an amazing professional who's a baller status
I know.
smart person, and they're gonna mess it up with some dork incel level would make a sandwich
So
How do you deal with it?
I mean, honestly, I've dealt with shit like this my entire life. Let's be real. Like I can navigate it, Hold on 1 second. But what I'm gonna start being like the ladies' lender.
Yes, good.
I'm gonna start marketing myself in that capacity because literally guys will call me to get pre-approved, and I'll pre-approve them, and then they're fucking weird.
Yep.
They just want to talk to me, and I'm like, bro, no, we're not friends. What? One dude on my live was like, yeah, we're friends, and I was like, he's texting me after the live.
Yeah. Parasocial relationship.
No. So even sometimes I'll for real have Corey on my team, hit him up. Hey, I saw that you were interested in whatever, just to have a guy do it because I'm not wasting my time. And honestly, the people who I'm pre-approving, who are actually qualified, who are actually looking at deals, are women.
Yep. Emotionally regulated. It's weird how that works. Educated, emotionally regulated.
Crazy. These dudes don't qualify. I'm like, bro, or they don't even fill out the application, or their credit score is 500, whatever. But these women, good credit, good jobs, good savings, 401k, whatever.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm the ladies' lender. I'm tired of these motherfucking dudes.
I think what the universe is telling you is to start a matchmaking service on the side that you can take these. Hey, I've got their credit score. I got their bank statements. I got everything, girls.
Right? He's a good one. He's not.
Yep.
That would be amazing. Sorry, I'm just in my entrepreneurial season, I guess.
I'm down for that. All right, you got a 700 credit score. We're looking for a man. Good job. You know that trust fund. 6'5", blue eyes.
Yeah.
He's got a 700 credit score.
Yep. Minimum.
Good job.
Yes.
Hey, who said pimping ain't easy? You can make that shit real easy.
No kid. He's got no kids, ladies.
Yes.
I love it.
What's going out there, but going back, seeing her stuff. There's one person I'm like, I don't like when people are rude. It's one of my pet peeves, just super weirdly rude. And this one person put this comment in there that got my Irish up. I was like, I'm going to find you where you live and send you something in the mail. Do not ever be
okay. So a guy posted the Haktua thing, whatever, that bullshit. He's a broker.
Yeah.
He's a real estate broker. So I screenshotted it. And I went to the mastermind on Facebook. Are you guys in that? It's fucking crazy.
Nope.
Yeah.
So I went in
Real estate
there and
mastermind?
I shared it. And I said, who knows this guy? The admins didn't approve it.
Oh,
but
wow.
I was like, who's this broker? We need to know who he is. Because this stuff on TikTok, on my live,
Yes.
I would hate to be one of the females who work for him.
Yes. Yeah.
It's and I screenshotted his name, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I said that in the live. I was like, you're a broker?
Yep.
You're saying this shit? You're disgusting.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And that's one of, again, going back to the rude thing, there's a way of professionalism. Like, you would never say that to one of your guy buddies. Don't say that to a lady buddy. Like,
Right.
be freaking normal. But
Well, and it depends on the level that you are with them, right? Because like with my guy friends, I'm one of the guys. Like, and like when I started dating my husband, like I was literally like, there were 2 girls and a group of guys, and one of them was like, "Hey, I know that you and Kat are like talking, but like she's one of the homies, so I don't think you should date her." And Dre was like, "What?" 16 years older,
Yeah.
2 kids, but so like I can hang, and plus if you're female in this industry, you work with all dudes. Like I was the only girl in the office for several years. Girls would come like a revolving door. They'd come in and out. They couldn't last. They couldn't hang. Now there's a lot more women in the industry than there was back then. But like I can hang, so like I can talk shit. Just like you're gonna try to say something. Like one time this guy was like, "Oh, Kat, look at your outfit." I was like, "Bro, you look like a fucking pumpkin in your shirt." Because he was like this 300-pound dude who thought he could talk shit to me.
Yep.
And I was like, and it shut him right up. Everyone in the group was like, "Dang, I can't believe Kat said that." Don't come at me trying to talk shit. Like if you can't, hang, don't dish it out.
Yep. It's just fascinating, and I'm glad that this is moving, because like on my lives, I always try to pub you and different people, because especially like in our business, we don't know where somebody's been in their emotional, like especially through divorce. Like some people who are going through divorce don't want to talk to a guy; they want to talk to a lady. So it's like partnering with divorce attorneys is such a huge thing for loan officers, and having that ability. But like in your situation, the future is woman. I would be doubling down on that if I were in your position, because I would hope that one day I am antiquated in this business and replaced by ladies. And some people are like, "Oh, that's lame." No, it isn't. When you have 400 years of history of people that look like me being in charge, maybe, just maybe, we have been the problem.
No, I agree with you on that. And I do prefer to work with women 100%. Like that's one thing that's about me that I've shared even on my personal page. Like I'm about women empowerment, uplifting, inspiring one another. Like women don't need more catty bullshit back and forth. Like we deal with enough like bullshit in corporate America, where it's like, and even like women talking about each other and gossiping and being petty and all of that. Like we don't need that. Like we need to build each other up and inspire each other and like support one another. And that's one thing I've noticed is like the women who come into my lives. Like one time there was a girl, I'll get a couple girls here and there, and I'm like, "I'm sorry for whoever hurt you."
Yep. Yeah. It's sad. Yes.
You don't have to take it out on me.
No. And the society has pushed them into that direction, almost like a fear factor of like, if you win, that costs them something, instead of it looking like, hey, if you win and I win, now we're making the stronger element and raising everybody up. But that's a fundamental shift in mindset. But we don't, how many people read a book after high school? Hardly any. And that's a part where we got to get better as a society of investing in ourselves, emotional intelligence, reading, but also not being afraid to call people out and talk like what we're doing here. Because again, there's enough business to go around.
Yeah. Right. And my client may not vibe with a man or you or whoever, and vice versa. You know, you would be like, just like you said, like some people want to work with a woman and some people want to work specifically with a man. And I've had a male client one time who said, he's like, "Why is," I'm going to make up a name, "why is Amanda the primary borrower on the loan?" And I was like, "'Cause she filled out the application. Like I talked to her, so I just put her first." And he's like, "I should be first." And I was like, "Ooh, unfortunately, because we're already this far into the process, I can't do that." I definitely could have switched that shit, but there is no way I was about to switch it, because I was like,
Tiny D energy.
it's not one of those men that I rock with. So I'm definitely going to leave you as the co-borrower, like for the rest of this 30-year term. And they have like a 3 1/4, so he's that co-borrower for life.
He's currently pissed still to this day. He's like, "Man, next time I talk to her, I'm going to say something."
Right?
Like,
he gets that mortgage statement and her name's first. Like, son of a bitch.
It's so crazy. And thinking about it as like a guy, because like your husband has a baller status, successful lady. I have a baller status lady. I think the cooler your wife and partner is, it's a partner.
Yeah.
That makes you look cool. So like, why would you want to make them be this subservient little dork thing in the kitchen? It's like, look at baller status. that you don't get there without being equivalent in partners. It's a different level of commitment. And so it's like, none of these people would be tall enough to ride the ride. And that's the part where it's fun. It's like, you live in a basement and you smell like Cheetos.
I know. That's my line too. Like, you're living in your mom's basement on a mattress with no sheets.
Yes, no bed frame, nothing.
Your mattress is on the floor.
Yes.
So, yeah. No, it's funny you say not tall enough to ride the ride because Dre's like 6'7".
Exactly. It makes sense for him. And that's the part where it's like some of these people that get creepy in your comments. I'm like, first of all, do you think this tactic works with anyone, especially someone that you can clearly see is successful and has their stuff together? It's embarrassing. But like, as a guy, I can't separate myself from that and try to continue to hide behind the uniqueness. It's like, no, I can't separate that. I gotta be a part of it and say, hey, don't do this as a guy. You are making us all look bad. I can't separate and say that's because it's all guys until it's not no guys. And that's the part where I think more of us that talk and have these conversations, it's important. And especially in the lending space, because we work with realtors and realtors are at risk sometimes. I encourage my lady realtors to get background checks on their clients before they go show them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
If open house, invite me. I'll be there. I got them all tasers for Christmas. I'm like, you all get tasers just in case.
Really, it's dangerous. It really is. Like, so when we first, how long have you been a loan officer?
About 10 years.
Okay, so you were around then. So I've been doing this for 16, and the first 5 years we did all refinances, right? Because the market was shit.
Yes.
And we would go. I would cold call. We'd trigger leads.
Yep.
Call them, right, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Then we would go run appointments in people's houses.
Yep.
So dangerous. At that age, I'm 21, 22 years old. I'm like, I'm untouchable.
Yes.
So, but I remember, like, there were a few scenarios where I took a guy with me.
Yes.
And my friend Andy, he's a loan officer still. I took him with me to the appointment, and I showed up, and the guy was like, "Oh, what's he doing here?" And I was like, "Oh, he's in training."
Yeah.
He wasn't in training. Like, we just kind of played. I was like, yo, I can't go on this appointment by myself.
Yeah.
I know one of you guys won't sell this. I have this in the bag. I could tell by the phone call. Like, and I did. I refinanced him twice in like 3 years.
Yep.
And then he was a little weird, but it was repeat client. But and then the second time he's like, "Oh, you didn't bring a guy with you this time?" And I was like, "Don't be weird."
Right.
Like, at that point, and there were a couple other times where, I would send, like, because we couldn't like send our location, right? So we had Blackberries back then.
Oh God.
So I gave the address, the client's name, all the information to one of the girls I worked with. Yep. And I was like, I'm going to call you at 9 p.m. if I don't call you. But the dude ended up being like not weird at all. But, you have to be cautious. And these women who are going out and showing houses, that's scary. That's really scary.
Yes. And I saw a realtor, or maybe it was somebody was on here talking about where they did look them up. And it turned out there was like, they were a convicted murderer and that were out from prison. I'm like, how the heck are they out? But also, like, how terrifying is that? And so that's where it's like all of this stuff, it goes more into it than just mortgage, real estate. There's so much that's invested in it, and it's important to do the interviews, talk to people, for your realtors and your lenders, because you got to gel with them, and it's a long-term investment. Like, that's the thing I really value about what you share on your content. You're showing people how to build generational wealth, but that relationship side. And because you're going to do a couple transactions with most people, and if you don't feel comfortable, I'm out. And that's the part where, as we move into the future, and the future is emotional intelligence and regulation and none of this accepting bully tactics and dorky stuff that was before, those people that don't invest in it are going to fall so far behind. And I'm okay with it. But, it is what it is. And, well, man, I did not realize it was 3 o'clock. But I don't want to keep you too long. I'm about to jump off because I got a 3:30. But I appreciate you coming in my live today. And, again, your content's amazing. I don't just say this about everybody. I really value what you put out and share it as much as possible. It's rare that somebody knows as much as they do what you do and also shares it. And everybody should talk to you.
I always told my husband, you're my favorite. I'm like, Ron's my favorite loan officer on TikTok. Like, I was like, I just love, and my husband loves, like, your wife, like, because I told him about her. And he was like, and he's like an anime, like, fanatic. So he thinks it's so cool that that's what she does. And then I know you. He's like, that's really awesome. So, but no, I appreciate.
This is one of our friends that's in California that needs to buy. And if he watches Dragon Ball, he'll know who he is and probably freak out.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Tell me,
He said, I got to know. Just text it to me.
Number one. So I'll text it to you.
Awesome. Well, you have a good one. And to answer this question, don't wait to refinance, Gabriel. Rates are going to come down even more. They went up today, but they'll come down probably within the next week or so.
Max. Awesome. Again, 10 out of 10 info. Talk to you soon, Kat.
Have a good one, Ron.